I'm going to recap our development cycle because there might be some people on the call who don't know what that is. You may be new to Mercury, so I think it's always worth that contextualization about how we develop before we talk about what we have developed. And because we're heading towards the end of 2025, I'm going to look at a couple of the big features that have been developed this year and that you now have access to. Then we'll dive into V35. I'm going to go over the highlights of that release, look at the other UI and UX enhancements and a couple of integration updates. And then I'm going to spend a little bit of time going through how you can keep up to date with developments here at Mercury. So hopefully by the end of today, you'll have lots of lovely information to take with you. Firstly, though, let's have a look at the development cycle. As I say, I like to put these sort of slides in to kind of give you an idea about the context in which we develop. We have two kind of development cycles, one for Mercury Core, that's your CRM, that's what you're working inside day in, day out. And for that, we have 4 releases a year, the current one being version 35 that we're talking about today. We also have, alongside that, 2 releases from Microsoft called the Wave release, and they coincide with our March-April release and this current one that we've got at the moment. So that's just something to bear in mind as well, that we have to do a lot of work to test that Wave to make sure it's not going to affect Mercury. So that's core Mercury. Next, we have our release train, and these are all the kind of bits around and inside Mercury. So things like search, the candidate portal, the client portal, analytics, the API, all those things that are part of Mercury but aren't the core CRM. And we have 2 weekly development cycles for those. So they're sprints. At the end of each of those sprints, we have the ability, if we want to release those updates. In reality, not every week, every 2 weeks sees an update go out, and some more often than others. But we do have that opportunity to have that consistent iterative enhancement and improvement process. So the reason I want to go through that is because today you're going to hear me mainly talk about core developments, but there will be some mention of the release train. So just to bear in mind, core, main CRM, 4 releases a year, release train, 2-week development sprints, and at the end of those sprints, we can have an update. Okay? So let's have a look at what we've done with 2025 so far. It's been a good year for Mercury in terms of what we've developed, and the first thing that I want to draw to your attention is new Mercury Search. It really can't be overstated how much work went into getting this up and running, and we have a dedicated team just working on search, and they do an absolutely phenomenal job. Search is absolutely crucial to what you guys do day in, day out, and we want to make sure you've got the best search experience possible. And so with new Mercury Search, we created this new interface for candidate and client contact search. It's got the views of tiles and the list view. You can view details, which takes you through to our wonderful candidate card that's got all of that information in one place so that your search experience is rich and effective. And building on that, we were then able to build brand new vacancy search, which if you've ever heard me talk about it, you'll know how much I love this. It's a really great way to match your candidates to vacancies faster than ever. And with this view here, you can see you've got all the information that you need at a glance to help qualify and disqualify roles and get your candidates placed faster. We also had the shortlist board view, another thing that I really like because of the drag and drop functionality that we had here. It lets you instantly see where your candidates are in the process, and you can update it as you go along, and you can also add sub statuses. Now, the reason these 3 I think are so important is because although they were released as part of the core releases, They are actually on the release train. So yes, we develop them and release them as part of core, but you can see updates happening on these all the time. Regular incremental updates. You don't have to wait 3 months for any enhancements to these particular features to go out. So I think this is a really great example of how core and release train developments work together to get you the best possible outcome. The other item I want to draw to your attention is the worker type compliance that went out recently. The introduction of worker types gives you much more flexibility and more granularity, bringing in compliance from different sources and reducing the need and the duplication of agreements. And there was so much more things that I just can't cover here, but things like enhancements to some of the key forms and views across Mercury, the automatic creation of SharePoint locations, automatic calculations on financial information, countless UI and UX updates in core, and of course alongside that the release trains running all the time. And all of these have been designed to make it quicker and easier for you to do your job. So let's have a look at what's in version 35. So this is our release schedule. So it started off on the 7th of October when the release went out to sandbox customers, 18th of October to the live environment for non-sandbox customers, and the 25th of October sees everybody getting V35 in their live environments. This, as I mentioned before, is a wave release. It coincides with a wave release. We've done extensive testing with this, and we're not expecting to see any changes in relation to the wave in relation to version 35. But we do always recommend that customers, if you've got a customization or something specifically built, we really do recommend that you check it in your sandbox beforehand. But I'm sure that's already all underway. Let's have a look at some of the highlights in V35. First of all, timesheets. Timesheets has been a huge focus for us with around 15 items of work done just in this area alone. And this is really to help improve the efficiency of timesheets, improve compliance, improve your candidate experience and client satisfaction. It's also going to be better for those of you who operate globally because it's going to give you much more flexibility to accommodate the intricacies and requirements of different regions. Now, again, I'm going to talk a little bit about how core and the release train work here because we've done all this work in the core product to eventually lay the groundwork for portal enhancements on the candidate portal. That's where your candidates are really going to see the impact of the things that we've done in core, but obviously the core stuff is there as the building blocks for that. Okay, so next here's some of those things that go into timesheets. So first of all, to facilitate the changes, we've had to add in some new admin items. So we've got a new security role, which allows users to edit a timesheet line on behalf of a candidate. So that means you're not having to chase the candidate all the time for updated information. You can make that change yourself if you have that security role. So that's going to speed up that process. We also have a new admin configuration where admins can decide which fields they're going to show on the candidate portal. This is going to help you support your own working practices and ensures that the information that you need is easy for the candidates to both see and then provide to you. So that will, obviously the work's done in core for that, and once it's in the portal, that will help you see, help your candidates see what they need to see to provide to you. We also have a new item of config that allows for flexibility over what happens to a timesheet once it's been processed. And this is really important for companies who have international requirements because some other non-UK companies have different steps that need to be completed before an item is approved. So this gives you that flexibility to see what happens after it's been processed. I really like this addition of adding forecasts and actuals to the timesheets because I think it gives a really clear indication of the differences between the two, which can help you future plan and shows where there might be issues coming up. So you can see forecast amounts and actual account amounts for pay, charge, margin, margin percentage and markup percentage. So if you can see the difference between those, it can help you plan for the future. And if you see, for example, that somebody's was forecast to be charging for 20 hours and they're actually charging for 50 hours, that could be a question mark that you want to then take up and see what's happening there. Other timesheet changes, we are giving you the ability to choose the timesheet type. So whether it's a unit, which is how it was in version 34 and before, which would mean that I would put in, for example, that I have worked 6 hours for a particular day. We've now given you the ability to choose time. So I could say that I worked 9 till 12, had 12 till 2 for lunch, decided to have a bit of a longer lunch, and then worked 2 to 5. So again, this is especially important for international companies. We've done that work in core. It will be rolled out to the portal soon as well. So candidates are able to fill that information out via there. We've got the ability to auto calculate the number of working days, which is going to save you a load of time, and it will also help to reduce errors. You're not going to have to reach for the calculator in a calendar. You'll just be able to do that. And then we've got timesheet lines viewable in the timesheet view. Again, this is really nice because it just reduces the need to go into other pages to find information. It's all just there where you need to see it. And we've got a timesheet chart, which gives you the key information in a single view as well. Another area that we've really concentrated on is spec sends. These are becoming increasingly important in the current market, and it's more important than ever that you get a person in front of a hiring manager fast. So we've tried to remove as much friction from this process as possible so that you can get faster placements. So you now have the flexibility to convert a spec send to an info record or a vacancy record directly. This is brilliant, not just because it saves you time, but it also helps enhance data quality. And if you do convert a vacancy, it will also automatically generate a shortlist for a candidate, which again is going to save you loads of time. I really like that feature. If you're converting to a vacancy, the converted from has now been renamed to info, so that's going to reduce any confusion, and that's also been made read only. In addition, these give you the visibility of how many spec sends are converting, so your business can see the effectiveness of this sort of outreach, and then you can adapt any strategies accordingly. Compliance and placements are really important parts of Mercury, and they can be quite tricky. We know how important they are for the industry as well. So wherever we can, we look to make improvements to this. And in version 35, we've really tried to concentrate on consistency and accuracy for you. So we've removed the go-to record on the compliance and onboarding subgroup and Mercury and UCI placement forms, just to make that an easier process to work with. We've aligned the colours on compliance and compliance evidence with the rest of Mercury, and we've applied the hierarchy lookup on the placement validation so that it's going to be easier to not have any incorrect data in there. And we've made small tweaks across the UCI and placement forms. And if you've joined one of these webinars before, you'll know that I'm always talking about how important consistency is. We don't want you to have to think about things when you're using Mercury. We want you to just be doing what you need to get done. So those little consistency improvements can make a real difference to your day-to-day life. Other enhancements across the platform. So in vacancy, we've now given you rich text fields for a number of those items in the vacancy. So it's easier to make your job board postings better and more visually appearing to help them stand out from the crowd and get you more people applying. You'll note that there are some things there that are intricacies of the particular job boards. So if you are using one of these posting services, please do bear in mind that there are some differences. Full information about that is in the release notes. Then we have made the vacancy form and the old legacy UCI form. There's now parity between those, and we've adjusted the background colour on retained and approval status as well as fee based on. Again, it's all just about consistency and making things easy for you. Over on the client entity, the related menu was getting a little bit cluttered, so we have tidied that up for you. We've removed the related common areas and we've tidied up the related Mercury. That makes things much clearer and more consistent, and we've also removed the social profiles. It's going to give you a better experience of using Mercury and help you get things done quicker and easier. We have got a new flag entity. Now, there is a note to go alongside this, which is this is work that's been done in core, but you won't really be able to use this until it's done in search. The reason I'm telling you about it, even though you can't really use it, is because you're going to see it in core. For now, just leave it as it is, and then once the work has been done in search, I'll let you know, and then you can start using flags. Now, search is on the release train. It's not going to be ages and ages and ages before you see this work being done. I think they're actually starting work on it at the moment. I will be in touch with more information about when that's ready for you to use. We had some really nice customer feedback about the data protection dashboard, and thanks to that feedback, we've actually made some tweaks to it to make it easier for you to use by rearranging it and have the things that need to be actioned clearer to get to. This is only for people who've got the Mercury Data Protection Officer security role, but it makes this dashboard much easier to work with. Last release, I think it was, we gave you the ability to change a client, and that was labelled Novate, which, whilst technically true, that's what that does, doesn't actually mean anything to the vast majority of people. So we've made a change to call that now Change Client. It just makes it clearer what that button actually does. Then we've added candidate company invoice instructions. This works exactly the same way as client does at the moment. And we've removed skills from info. This was stuff that was only used in legacy search. Because Search V2 no longer exists, we've removed that from there. Similarly, saved queries only related to Search V2, so we've removed them from V35 because they're not in use anymore. We've got some new config. Again, this comes from a lovely bit of feedback that we have from a customer where they were saying that sometimes they can't get hold of their candidates through their home phone phone email information, and they would like to be able to see the candidate's work contact details too, to give them more flexibility over how they can contact those candidates. So we now have a new config item that allows you to see the work email address, telephone and mobile phone number of your candidates should you wish to. They can be difficult to track down, so we're giving you as many options as possible to get hold of your candidates and get less miss opportunities. Couple of tweaks to some integrations. For Logic Melon, we've removed the post vacancy page for posted vacancies. It's going to reduce the need for you to have loads of pages open. And then in Daxtra, we've changed the date formatting to make work history and education parsing results better. The full release notes are available on the knowledge base, and as always I've done a summary of release notes which is available there on 01809, and then we have a link there to the fully itemised release notes as well, so you've got every single piece of work that's been done, including any of the software fixes that have also been done as part of V35. Never one's to rest on our laurels. We're already working on version 36, and I'm slightly in shock of the fact that we're already talking about January. It feels like I've got a lot of Christmas prep to do before then, but we will be starting the release schedule for version 36 on the 5th of January. So that's a nice New Year surprise for you. And then it will roll out over the next few weeks as normal. It is a shorter development sprint, so it tends to be a bit of a lighter release in January with Christmas and everything in the middle, but the release notes will be available for you before the end of 2025, because the 5th of January is actually my first day back in the office, so I'll need to get them done before then. As I hope you've kind of got from this presentation, a lot happens at Mercury. We've got a lot of developments happening all the time, and it can be tricky to keep up to date. And part of my job is to make sure that you guys get as much information as you possibly can. And so I wanted to just go through some of the ways that you can keep up to date with what's happening here at Mercury. The first one is our community. It's a fantastic resource. You'll have heard me talk about it before. I talk about it quite a lot. It's managed by the lovely Tony, and it's just had a facelift. It's got so much information in there, but it's not just a one-way street either. You can post questions and you'll get answers, not just from us at Mercury, but from your peers as well. So if you've got a question that you don't know the answer to, or you want to find out how people are doing a particular thing, post it on the community and you'll get somebody respond to you. As I say, just contact Tony if you're not already a member of the community. We'd love to see you there. Then there is the knowledge base. I hang around in the knowledge base all day, every day, finding out all the best things about Mercury and the best way to use them. It's got so much information in it, and it is updated all the time. It's not just release notes. It has so many articles about different things. So if you are stuck with a particular thing, I recommend having a look in the knowledge base and bookmark it, because we update it constantly, and it's a really, really useful resource. Webinars like this are a great way to keep up to date with what's happening, and we have recently given you the ability to subscribe to our webinar series. That means you don't have to necessarily attend every single one, but you will be able to scan that code, register, and you'll get the invitation directly into your calendar for you, and that means that you'll never miss a webinar like this. And if you can't attend, it doesn't matter, because what will happen is you'll get the recording afterwards anyway. So I really recommend that you sign up to that. We will give you the link to that also in the follow-up email that we send round with a recording of the video after today's session. And also, another way to keep up to date is to follow me on LinkedIn. Every 2 weeks, I post a video about product updates in Mercury. So if you want to know what's happening as it's happening, give me a follow, and I will post those videos there. I'd love it if you'd reach out to me and let me know what you think of them as well. I find them really useful to do, because it helps me kind of distill everything down into just 2 or 3 minutes, and I hope that people are finding them useful to watch as well. For now, that's it though. Has anybody got any questions or any thoughts at all? Emily?
So we've had a request for the slides, which obviously we can send over.
Of course.
And outside of that, we've had a request that it would be useful to see some real examples of Mercury as you discuss each point. So a bit of feedback for us on that front.
Yeah, that's a really nice bit of feedback. I'll take that into account for the next one that we do. But what I'll do as well is I am putting together a video of what's in version 32, what year am I in? Version 35, and I'll include some videos in that as well, so that you can see in action, if you like. That's a really nice piece of feedback. Thank you for that.
Outside of that, a few thank yous, and I've seen a few people subscribe to our webinars, so
that's wonderful news. Great. Thank you all so much for your time. I really like spending this time with you and going over what has been developed. And I look forward to seeing you in January for V36, unbelievably. And I'll see some of you on LinkedIn.